Okay, Cal, we're making spring rolls today. If you've got a slicer like that, that's good. If you don't, that's fine, or a grater like that. So I got onions, as much as you want, like 4 onions, sliced them, grated carrot, sliced capsicum, right, and a full cabbage over here. And I've just sliced it all up, and the onions I'll make into the same sort of little dice like that, because you don't want too chunky. So this slicer slices the onions into these rings like that I've had in there, and when you cut it down this way, right, it'll cut it into all those tiny pieces real quick. Alright, so just did a quick tidy up. Now we've got a head of cabbage we're going to put through the slicer, and then also chop it up nice and fine like our other pieces, because the the cabbage and everything is just going to be turned into like a paste. Not quite a paste, but for the filling of the spring roll. So I've cut it in half. I'm going to cut the core out, this hard bit here. Right, I'm going to cut that out like that on both sides. Whereas the other piece is here. You can see that, this hard bit here, that's coming out. Then I'll cut it into like a quarter, and then I'm going to put it through that because I really want to shred it like this other stuff, and it takes too long to chop it up all by hand. Okay, so you can see it's shredded there. I'll chop that up fine, but I'm just going to get the pan started. Just warming up some oil. I'm just going to cook off the carrot, capsicum, onion a little bit with some garlic and a little bit of ginger maybe, whatever flavours you like. And then I'll render down all of the cabbage, and we'll show you when we get there what that looks like. Alright, so this is what we got. Little leftovers that didn't go through. I'm going to chop those up. Here's the bit that I've gone through the slicer, and here's the bit that I've just tried to chop up even finer. Okay? These are really sharp, so that's why you use this thing, because it'll cut your tip of your finger off. See you, mate. Okay, so in here, that's just the onions, not too hot. You're not wanting to burn it or make it brown. Bit of salt, chicken booster, you got to get some flavour into that. You know, that's all we're trying to do here. And then we'll render down the cabbage. Okay? Okay. So that's rendering down nicely. You know, remember it's going to be more mush than solid, just like a inside of a spring. Well, the way that I do spring rolls, more like a chicken dim sim, Aussie chicken dim sim from the shop. Okay, so this needs to be chopped up further, and this is not too bad, right? So I'm going to get that into there, and I'm just going to get it started. Then what I'm going to do, right, when that renders down a bit, I'll start chopping up this. And then I'll fill up this big pan and just take it out onto the side of the barbecue. Fill the whole lot up, put a lid on it, and just try and render the whole lot down. So get that started in there. That gets chopped up, then the whole lot goes into there. And this pan I'll clean up and I'll use for the meat. Okay, so this bit I'm going to chop up finally, put it in there, into this big pan, deeper pan. And then all of that is going to go into here, and I'll slowly cook it out on the barbecue side burner with the lid on it, because all the juices and stuff we want to keep, because that's all flavour, and we'll enhance it with the chicken powder, a bit of salt, and then I'll show you the marinade I'm going to use. This is the last bit of cabbage, so what I'm doing, I'll show you. So I'm just pulling out handfuls and I'm just cross-cutting it. You're going to do that to the rest of it. Okay, tidied that up. Gave my workspace a bit of a tidy. Now, I could use the proper Barbie, but I'm just going to use the this little thing here. Right, so that's fine. So that's all of it in there. There's still no meat in any of that. Lid goes on, and you just want that on low because you don't want to burn it. So I'm going to put that right up on low, and I'm just going to steam all that, put a little bit of water in it, just as I was cleaning up those other containers. I just tipped a little bit of water in it, maybe that much in a container, help steam it, help create some steam, and that'll all render down. I'll go and do the meat next. Okay, here's the meat. Beef and pork is I'm using. This just has beef and pork, otherwise you can buy the beef separately and the pork separately and mix it together, or you could use ground chicken mince. I don't usually do pork and chicken together or beef and chicken together. I just keep beef and pork together. Chicken by itself, they're 500, so it's going to be a kilo. And I'm just going to get that started in this pan over here, but I want to keep it nice and fine, right? And I'll show you that in a minute. I've thrown it in. You see I've cut it across the grain, so I want to make that nice and fine. Get this on low, right? Nice and low. And this one I'm going to cut. You can see all the strands running this way. So that's all I'm doing. Just I'm breaking it up further, So I want it nice and fine for inside the spring roll. Or the Loudon spring roll. Probably more accurate. So the question is, what flavour will I make the spring rolls? I'm not putting any flavouring in this at all, bit of salt. I've got some Japanese barbecue sauce, which I thought I might use, but you can use anything. Use oyster sauce, like even Korean sauce, doesn't matter. And because there's no sauce in it at the moment, you could actually divide up that with the cabbage and separate them out and sauce them up separately, and give you a few different flavours. This is going to make a lot. It's make me 200 spring rolls probably. Freeze them, but we'll get to that. So while I was cutting up everything else, I did all this extra. Carrots like that, onions not chopped up, capsicum not chopped up. See that? So what you can do is you can make bags of these and freeze them for stir fries, and then we're also going to use this same sauce to marinate this chicken and bag it up into those, and then you've got lots of stuff for stir fry out of the freezer, and you've got quick meals out of the freezer. So it's just getting marinated with that sauce, which is absolutely delicious actually, from Costco, so that's going to make great spring rolls. And then, like I said, all these will be bagged up into smaller quantities to go with a stir fry. That you can buy some shredded meat, some chicken strips or whatever, and just use it as a stir fry, or cook it with some veggies with that, whatever you want. Here's what I'm doing to the beef and pork mixture. Just getting it nice and fine. It isn't too hot. All that juice you want to keep. It's all flavour. And when we get a bit closer, what we're going to do is we're going to put the other mixture, all of the veggies, in with it, out on the other one, and we're going to keep cooking. Then we're going to start adding our Japanese flavour to this, because that was really delicious. So I won't split it up, I'm just going to do one flavour. Okay, just starting to add a bit of flavouring to it. Remember, there's a whole lot to go in here, and it doesn't matter if it's a bit saucy. Although in a spring roll, you want to obviously tighten all this up, and you can't have it sloppy, of course, or wet. So what we'll use is we will use corn flour to thicken it. And we'll do that next. Well, what we're going to do next is add this to the other mixture outside, and we're going to keep cooking it down until we find, and then we'll add some more sauce to it till we get a nice bit of flavour to it. Maybe a little bit stronger than we might just eat if it was a stir fry, because only a little bit's going in the each spring roll, and you want them to be tasty and crunchy, but not too salty. All right, so we've got our meat, our beef and pork mixture here. We've got that rendering down nicely there. And we're going to add them together. You see there's a fair bit of liquid in there. That's good. That's all we want, because that we're going to thicken all of that. Okay, so the next thing is to get that into there, like that. All right, I'm going to mix that around, put the lid back on, and then let it render down, and we're going to keep on mashing it up till it turns into more of a pasty sort of thing with a little bit of chunky in it. All right, come back when that's done. We're going to use corn flour, something like that. We're going to stiffen it up. We're going to it's going to be, for that amount, a good half a cup. Make it soluble in cold water, and then we'll put that there because we've got to make that real thick and stiff, but we've also got to cook the flour taste out of it. All right, so I'll get that in there and put it in, start mixing it. Okay, so look at this. I don't know how long it's been, half an hour or so. It's all broken down pretty nicely. I've had a taste, sorry. It's all broken down pretty nicely. I've had a taste. And what's happened is that's probably about the right amount of sauce I had in there, that marinade. Now look at all this. Like that is a lot of corn flour. But we want to stiffen it right up. And corn flour will stiffen it. And once it thickens up, we can make a decision whether we need more or not. Because we're going to freeze it. No, we're not. We're going to cool it down before we roll them, obviously. Right? But what are we going to do? We don't want it like rock hard, but we also don't want to have it wet. Right? When it cooks, it's going to want to reconstitute itself. When we cook it in the spring roll wrapper, thin itself out a bit. So we've got to make it nice and thick here, and we've got to cook it for long enough so there's no floury taste in it. You see that starting to thicken up now? All right, let's go. We'll let that sit for a minute, and we'll see how we go. Our filling. Look at it. Okay, it's thick. We're going to put it into these bowls, so we're going to put it in the fridge until it goes cold. It stiffens up nicely, and then we're going to start rolling spring rolls with it, or Loudon rolls, because, probably not anywhere near a proper spring roll, but anyway, tastes good. Tasty filling and crunchy. Okay, so that's all the filling. What you can also do is grab yourself one of those little cups of rice. They cook in the microwave. Keep a little bit of the mixture out. Make yourself a little bit of a Japanese sort of flavoured rice. That's real good too, so you can make that up in advance. If you don't want to make it all spring rolls, keep on adding stuff to your freezer. Spring roll wrappers, different sizes. Peel them off, one at a time. I'm using some noodles in this. Little scoop. Pull it nice and tight, like that. Fold over the edges, a little bit of egg wash so it sticks together. Pull it apart nice and tight as you roll it. Do that 500 times. Sorry. 200 times, and you'll have all your spring roll mixture. And if you run out of noodles, that's fine. Just do them a bit thinner, a little bit less filling.